All right, so in this video, we are going to digitize for a patch. With a patch or an emblem, you will want to do almost like an applique technique, where you have a placement stitch, a tack down stitch, and maybe two tack down stitches, and then the design itself, and then the cover stitch. In this video, I'm going to show you kind of how to do it more manually than using the automatic applique. So first, I will go ahead and bring in my artwork, which is going to be more like a shield. So I'll choose this, press OK. It is simple artwork. It does pick up some extra colors, so I'm going to bring the maximum colors down to 2. That way it only reads black and the background. I'll go ahead and press OK. And after I press OK, it brings it in. It is about 9.5 inches. I'm going to bring it down to 4.5 with maintain aspect ratio check marked. If I change X, it'll automatically change Y, and press OK. I'll go ahead and generate my stitches, and you do see that it is just the center that is stitched. I'm going to right click on the background and Control Delete. I will turn off the image in the background, which is this icon here at the top, and left click. So here is my shape, and what I'd like to do is create several outlines. These outlines will be the placement, tack down, and covers for the applique for the emblem. So the first border I will create will be the placement stitch. That will show me where to place down the fabric that we are using for the patch. Usually it's like a twill fabric. When I am digitizing this, I will digitize the different outlines or the different steps in different colors. So the first thing I will do is right click on the shield. I do want this exact shape and size, so I will right click again inside, and here I will choose create outline from area edges. With this, I will just do a single run. It only needs to be on the outside border. I don't have an inside border here. And the offset that's important is 0 right now. I'll go ahead and press OK. And then I will change the color so we can see it. Press OK. And now I have a single run outline. I can turn off or make invisible this black, and I now have the single run outline. So the machine will stitch this onto the carrier material. Usually it's like a plastic type of material, water soluble, and then you want the machine to stop. After the machine stops, you will lay down your fabric. If it is pre-cut, we will go on to the next step of creating a zigzag tack down stitch. If it is not cut, you might want to put in another run stitch here, or double run stitch really. So then you have the ability to trim out the excess. So let's turn this back on. I do like to work in millimeters in this instance because I am changing the offset slightly with very small increments. And when we do offset, we just want to make sure that our cover stitch or our satin stitch is going to cover over on top of that. So if we are going to cut the fabric, first of all, I'm going to go to my view preferences, because I am in inches right now. I'm going to change that to millimeters and press OK. I'm going to right click again inside the black area. This is what I want to outline. Right click again, create outline from area edges. When I select that, I'm going to do the outside border. This time I'm going to do a double run with an offset of, let's do negative point, or actually a -1. This will give me a negative millimeter offset with a double run. I'll press OK. It creates it just to the interior. I'm going to change the color again because I do want the machine to stop. So I'll right click off to the side. Let me turn off the black, and now you can see the second step of my border here, or of my patch here, is going to be this second one. And then I want the machine to stop so then I can actually trim around that. Let's turn that back on. And if you do have pre-cut fabric, you don't necessarily have to do the second one that I just did. You can skip onto this type of tack down stitch. This is a zigzag tack down stitch. And with a zigzag tack down stitch, it's just a little bit more, it reinforces it a little bit more and holds it to the carrier backing a little bit better. So here I am going to do a zigzag stitch. Now with the zigzag stitch, I don't want it to go too far to the outside of the blue edge here. I want it to go a little bit, but not too far. And again, I do want to make sure that my satin stitch or my cover stitch is going to cover on top. So these are things that I do have to take into consideration when doing the calculation of the zigzag stitch. First of all, I do want to do about a 4mm border. So I could probably have like a 2.5 to 3 mil zigzag stitch and make sure that the 4mm border will cover it. So I'm going to right click inside here, right click again, and create outline from area edges. So this one, I'm going to leave it as a satin border, although we will change the options here. I'm going to make the width, let's do 2.5. It's just the outside border. Again, I don't have an inside border, so I don't need to do all borders or just inside border. And the offset, we are going to do -1.25. And that will allow us to have that border just hit the outside, or just hit the edge here of this blue line. And actually, I'm just going to, I'll make that a little bit bigger. Let's do 2.75. And press OK. Actually, I made it 2.65. I changed my mind. Press OK. We'll go ahead and hit go. Now it is a satin border. I'm going to turn that off so you can see that satin border. Although I'm going to go in here and make some changes. First of all, let's change the color once again. And then I will go to the property settings. And in here, I do not want an underlay. I am going to go to satin and use zigzag stitch style. I also will not use stitch shortening, and I'm going to make the density 1.5. Let's see what that looks like. So I'll go ahead and pull that off to the side. I will apply it, and now you can see that I do have an open zigzag stitch with a 1.5 density. Let's maybe make that a little bit more open, 2. And again, I'm working in millimeters. I'll go ahead and hit apply, and you can see that it's a little bit more open. I'll press OK. Right click off to the side, and then if we look at it, if we zoom in, you can see that it does go over a little bit on that blue line. So after we do those 3 steps, which you could have 3 or you could have 2, just depending upon if you have a pre-cut fabric or not, I am going to zoom the whole design. Let's see, I hit A on my keyboard and right click off to the side, make sure nothing is selected. I can right click on this, and I can also change my in and out points if I'd like. I can see that I do have some travel stitches that might look a little funny. So I am just going to change that. And let's see. Okay, we'll just leave it as that. So with that, let's put in a design in the middle. This is what we want in the middle. For this one, I'm just going to use text as an example, but you would have, after these 3 steps, you would have your design here in the middle stitch, and then after that you would want your outline to stitch. So here I'm just going to use lettering, and we're just going to type in emblem. I'll go ahead and press OK. Let's size it down. Go ahead and generate my stitches. So now I have placement, tack down, then I would cut, and then another tack down, the design itself, and then finally let's go ahead and do the final step. So I'm going to make this visible again. I'm going to right click to select it. Since we do want this at 4 millimeters wide, I am going to offset it a little bit, and we're going to right click, create outline from area edges. I do want the border just to hit the outline, just to hit the edge, because otherwise if it goes too far outside, it is clinging too much onto that carrier backing. It needs to hold onto the edge of the fabric. So we're going to do a satin border. We were going to do a 4, and let's do like a 1 point, let's do a 1.8 offset. Oh, and I got to make that negative. Once I do that and press OK, let's go ahead and hit go. And then it'll finally put the final outline there. So now I can actually delete this piece right here with a Control Delete. Now I have placement, tack down, design, and then cover stitch. I don't need to have my machine stop before it does the cover stitch. I just need it to stop within here so that I can have time to lay it down as well as cutting it away. So let's zoom in here, and if I zoom in you can see that my tack down stitch is covered. We can increase pull compensation or actually decrease pull compensation on this orange right here just by going to our stitch settings. Let's go to pull compensation. Let's bring that down to 0.2 and apply that. Okay, it does bring it in a little bit more. And then for the black, if I want, I can also increase the pull compensation. So I'll go to that pull compensation tab here and maybe do 0.5. Just give it a little bit more, cover it a little bit more. Really, you can play around with these settings. You can change the widths. You have lots of different things you can do. So I hope this is a quick rundown of how I would actually digitize for an emblem. If you do have questions or comments, please let me know and I am happy to help. Thanks and have a great day.